to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Good morning. It is Tuesday, April 28th. We are the Fantasy Footballers, and Mike is no longer in a man bun.
Not today.
Just mixing it up.
Well, when you got luxurious locks, you can
do whatever you want.
You can have some fun.
Quick question for you guys today. Do you want to see Phillip Rivers traded?
I want to see Phillip Rivers traded from watching the draft perspective and being excited for just crazy stuff to happen, but not from a fantasy perspective. I like just knowing Tennessee is an albatross and to avoid it. But if Phillip Rivers goes there, I got to actually do work and be like, what does this mean and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
Mike?
I'd like to see it just because that stuff is exciting, and I think you put Rivers on the Titans, and then if Mariota is not great this year, I think that the Chargers and the Titans just flip-flop. You know what I mean?
In terms of expectations?
Of success.
Yeah. So, welcome to the show today. We got a good show. We're doing a draft preview show today. The draft is just 2 days away.
We should introduce ourselves.
Your wife is making sausage dip, right?
Oh, world famous.
That's happening? Because
yes.
Otherwise, okay.
I confirmed.
I'll be there then.
I said, I volunteered you to make the dip. She said, oh, did you?
So that's a yes. And then we're gonna talk rookies today, and we got a bunch of mailbag questions. I think we got 6 or 7 that we're gonna go through on the show today.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you our Twitter handle at the FF Ballers. You can also follow Mike at FF Hitman, Jason at Jason FFL, and you can follow me at Andy Holloway. If you wanted to follow us individually, we like to post news notes, news shows, exciting pictures of Mike's hair. You can visit us on the web at thefantasyfootballers.com. We're now on YouTube. If you didn't check it out, we actually put our show up last week. What do you guys think of that?
It was a smashing success.
Do you think we can keep it up the pace of basically taking 10 to 12 hours to produce a show and put it online?
Yeah, that was terrible and awful. But now we've got the system working.
The process is a little bit smoother.
Allegedly.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. Look by midnight tonight. Go to thefantasyfootballers.com.
After I've worked an entire day.
You don't have to find it on YouTube either. You can just go to thefantasyfootballers.com and either listen or watch.
That's true. We also got a bunch of reviews this week, so I thank you for those. We got them from BJ the Boy, Turin. I don't know how you say that. Heather Gabbard, Princess 0214, and then we've got our. We're going to read one of them right now.
Reviewosaurus Rex.
Well, the Reviewosaurus Rex this week was Skins fan for life. This is what he says. He says, "Hey guys, I just recently stumbled upon your podcast while trying to quench my fantasy football addiction. Kudos for working hard, pumping out shows every week, while most professionals mail it in during the off-season. The show has a great mix of knowledge and comedy that has me coming back show after show. Please keep up the amazing work." Well, thank you.
Almost.
Almost
flawless.
Your endings are always a little interesting. I thought you were going to say give them an applause, but no, thanks for the review. A lot of people have said they just love that we're doing the off-season shows, which I, as a fantasy player before we were doing the show, that's what I wanted. I was obsessed with fantasy football. and now that the NFL has so much going on all year long, I think it's almost necessary. You have things going on all the time, and you can look at, we got the rookies. Got the rookies today.
It is necessary. The more up to date you are through the offseason, the less that things surprise you early and the less you make crazy choices during the draft. So you listening today, you literally right now I'm talking to you in your car or on your computer, you are going to win your league. Promise. It's guaranteed.
Yeah, and he'll pay. What are you paying them? 50? You paying their league dues if they lose?
If you lose, I will give all your money back that you spent on this show, all of it, 100%. Plus plus 10. Not plus $10. I'll double it. I'll double the money you've spent.
Math is hard.
Promises. If you enjoy the show, you enjoy the off-season shows, you can leave us a review on iTunes. We appreciate it. Go on there and subscribe. You can also email us your questions at mail@thefantasyfootballers.com, and we will answer them on the show. Any other
I had
tidbits of information?
Well, just a quick aside. As I explained my Sunday night process of Game of Thrones, where I load up on just junk food, because that's the Sunday nights when I can eat whatever I want. I did In-N-Out. I went 3x3 for the first time in my life.
Wait, you did the
I went
triple patty?
Yeah, triple patty, triple cheese. I don't know if I can go back.
Is that good, huh?
Dude.
Did you make it through the show, though? I mean, were you out on the couch?
No doubt. No,
All
no,
right,
I
guys,
made it through no
guys,
problem.
let's wrap this up. We got to go to In-N-Out. Let's get to show. I know where lunch is today.
So for those who are on the fence of should I do it, yes.
The answer is yes.
Well,
How long did it take you to build up the courage?
About 10 seconds when
Okay.
I was in the line and I was very hungry and I
You were
said,
like,
I'm going for it
Wait,
today.
you have a triple?
News and notes from around the league.
No time for news and notes today. We're just going to talk In-N-Out Burger. No. Actually, I'm excited because we have yet another mediocre wide receiver signing.
We really need a drop for this.
It's so spectacular. Hakeem Nicks, everybody. Remember him?
Moon hands. Good old moon hands.
Oh, I loved that dude when he was good that game. He had so much potential. Anyway, he's on the Titans now. So
Hey, if Phillip Rivers goes,
there you go.
he might be mediocre.
Yeah, he just wasn't that good last year. He just did not make
He had
enough.
Andrew Luck.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not like the quarterback's his issue.
Yeah, did not make enough plays. So Hakeem Nicks goes to the Titans, probably a wide receiver 4.
There you go.
If he's lucky. Antonio Brown, Mike, you got to be happy about this news.
Oh,
You reported
man.
to voluntary workouts.
Yeah,
and your overreaction can cease.
The sweats are gone. We're back. We're back on the
no
Brown
longer
Express.
worried.
It was always a non-issue.
What do you guys think? Washington picks up RG3's 5th-year option. Is this just cost of quarterbacks? I mean,
Yeah, well, it's the right move, and it's only guaranteed if he's injured. So I was reading this morning that this actually
it's guaranteed if he's injured?
correct. If he gets injured this year, then that money becomes guaranteed for next year.
All the more reason to
Interesting.
pull him while playing.
Exactly. So if he doesn't get it done, they're just going to pull
It's
him.
not a big deal.
Yeah. So it's low risk, high reward for Washington to make that move.
No other big news. There's the draft's coming up. We're going to have so much to talk about. I'm
no big deal,
Super
just a draft.
excited. I'm curious what kind of trades we're going to see. We're going to have a bunch of shows after the draft talking about implications of whatever moves are made and some of these offensive rookies that we're going to talk about today, where they end up, what kind of impact they can have. Last year we saw so many rookie wide receivers make an impact in fantasy. I mean, across the board. So it's very deep this year, and it should be interesting. I want to let you guys know about a little something. We got a new promotion with FanDuel.com. If you haven't heard of FanDuel, they are the leader in one-day fantasy sports. They pay out over $10 million every single week.
I got $1 million.
That's a lot of cash.
That's a lot of money. Super fun. If you haven't played FanDuel, you probably heard about FanDuel, but right now, if you sign up on FanDuel.com, you can use a promo code from this show, BALLERS. Drop that promo code in there. Use the code BALLERS.
Don't be embarrassed typing that in. Just do it. Ballers. Click that microphone. Ballers.
BALLERS. And you'll get your initial deposit matched dollar for dollar up to $200 if you want to get in there. If you like, right now you can play.
Wait. Like they'll just give you $200 up to like free money?
$200.
Straight up cash, homie?
You can go in and you can play some.
I played.
You can play some fantasy.
I played basketball last night. Fantasy basketball
on FanDuel.
On FanDuel with the playoffs.
And how'd you do?
Let's move along. I'm a fantasy football expert. So baseball is.
Yeah, sign up for FanDuel right now. Use the promo code BALLERS and get up to a $200 bonus on your first deposit.
Also, when you use the promo code BALLERS, you will also feel like you have 20-inch rims on your Impala.
That's true.
Yes, that's the bonus. That's a
scientifically
promo.
proven.
That's a promo only this show can provide. So let's get into the draft talk, guys.
Hey, rookie. Welcome to the NFL.
I want to be drafted into the NFL.
You might be.
Do you think at 31 I'm past my prime?
Just coming into it, man.
We've already talked about this. Defending flag league champions. This is.
Yeah. There was a couple scouts at the championship game.
This is Brandon Whedon part 2 right here. You're looking at him.
High praise.
Brandon
He was like
Whedon's-
35 when he came in, right?
You're his grandfather.
So I want to start this part of the show off. We're going to be basically previewing. I got some questions about what to expect in the draft, about some of these big offensive rookies, obviously. And my first question for you guys is this. Do you have a bold draft prediction? Because I'd like to get one bold prediction from each of us. Something borderline crazy that you wouldn't be too surprised to see happen.
I got it.
You got one?
Yeah, I got it. And I actually think that there's at least
Wait, you
50
talked about this one already. I know what's coming. You're
50%.
crazy.
I think there's a 50% chance of happening, and keep in mind, we're making a bold prediction, which is, obviously against the grain. I believe that Marcus Mariota drops past the top 10. Nobody trades up for him, and no one in the top 10 drafts him. That's what I believe. I believe it, look at last year, Johnny Manziel. There were rumors of him going to
Teddy Bridgewater.
All these guys, and they drop. And NFL teams, they don't want to scheme running quarterback, and I think there's a lot of the Titans are trying to build up Mariota like crazy because that just gets them that RG3 haul if they can trade out.
If he starts dropping for whatever reason, Chip Kelly's going to start salivating.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I also think the Browns are going to scooch their booch up to snag him.
I think you're right because I do believe all the reports that Cleveland. Because there's been too many trustworthy guys that Cleveland really wants to draft one rookie quarterback every single year.
Well,
because Brady Quinn?
Yeah. So here's the deal. Maybe they draft him at 12. And then I'm the correct predictor, and you heard it here first.
There you go. So, Mike, what is your boldest prediction of the draft? I feel like with that kind of crazy talk, mine is not very bold.
No, mine's not going to sound that crazy. With all the running back hype that we're getting of Todd Gurley going in the top 10, I predict there will be no running backs again drafted in the first round.
See, I think that's bolder than mine.
That is because if it gets down to that sweet Arizona spot at 24, you're telling me Todd Gurley's not flying to Phoenix?
I don't think he will. I don't think he will.
Bold, my brother. Okay.
Todd Gurley gets to the
so this is
Dallas.
Mine is kind of counter to yours, and I don't know if you guys are going to consider this bold enough, but I think that the New York Giants will draft a running back at the 9th pick.
Oh, that is bold because
have Andre Williams, Rashad Jennings, Shane Vereen, and a Todd Gurley on that roster.
I think that's bold because it's so stupid. That's just one man's take. I don't want to be insulting or anything, but you're just a flat out idiot.
Thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.
Only one of us can be
all right.
correct.
I don't like that segment. All right. All right, I'm going to ask you guys a couple more questions. Who do you think has the best chance to be the NFL's Offensive Rookie of the Year? And I can tell you who mine is first if you want.
Yeah,
you go.
Amari Cooper.
Oh, okay.
Amari Cooper is my guy because Amari Cooper is the one wild receiver. He's a wild receiver.
Oh, he gets crazy. He takes his shirt off.
He loves Steppenwolf.
He's the one wide receiver who's polished enough, talented enough, has performed. I don't care what team he goes to. I think he puts up 80, 90 receptions his first year and makes a difference year one. And he's so, a lot of people think that, I've heard comparisons with him and like Roddy White. That's what I've heard on some of these networks. For me, he reminds me a lot of Victor Cruz. Quickness, in and out of breaks, very, very agile, very quick. I just think even if he ends up in Oakland, I like Amari Cooper.
Yeah, so I'll go next, and I'll go next because Amari Cooper is also my guy. For all the reasons you just stated,
okay.
I think that he's the most polished. He has the most ability to produce year one. His routes are great, and a big reason I think that he could do awesome, and this goes with goes against your running back prediction. I think there's a chance that he could fall to the New York Giants and be scooped up and have an awesome wide receiving tandem with ODB there.
That would be an insane wide receiver core.
Yeah.
Eli Manning would be climbing.
Who's yours, Mike?
I'm going to go with Green-Beckham based on he's going to...
Dorial.
Yes. He has...
Wide receiver.
He has...
Checkered pass.
Done the duty of dropping himself from the top of the first round and...
You mean inadvertently?
Yes.
Okay.
And which drops your money, granted, but you get on a better team.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he falls down like maybe Eagles. I don't know if they would take him that high, but that's what I'm talking about, where he's going to get to a team that's in a better situation for him to succeed.
Patriots?
Yeah, I had that thought too. There's a bunch of guys that I like their potential landing spots at that wide receiver, whether it's Dorsett or Parker or some of these later round guys. My worry about them joining one of those better teams is simply volume. do they get there and make a year one impact that's high volume? Because you saw, I mean, Brandon Cooks is super talented. I mean, he kind of came into that better team last year, and he did produce, but I don't know.
He produced less than Kelvin Benjamin, who went to a worse team and got the ball.
But no, I mean,
missed a bunch of games.
We'll talk about him later because I like Green-Beckham too from a potential standpoint. You know, as far as somebody like White, I mean, he's another guy that could perform. I just don't know how.
Kevin White's
he's pretty
awesome.
raw. He's pretty raw. So.
I don't think he's as raw as you think. I think that he is actually really good. I like him better than Amari Cooper long term. If I was in a dynasty draft, I would draft him ahead of Amari Cooper personally. But I think that he will struggle to pick up an NFL offense in year one. I think it's actually kind of that level. I mean, he didn't get
one year guy.
Yeah, and
JUCO transfer.
Yeah, the reason he was a JUCO transfer is because his academics weren't high enough to get into college. So I think going to an NFL team year one's going to be maybe a little bit more difficult of a transition. But he's a beast. I love him.
So let's talk about year one fantasy impact at the quarterback position. The top two guys, Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota. Which one makes the better year one impact? And then follow-up question to that is, who's the better dynasty play to you? I mean, we don't know where they're going yet. So
kind of.
Well,
we know where
you're
50%
right.
of them are going.
So year one, who would you rather own?
Year one, I would rather own Winston. Year 2 through 12, I would rather own Winston. And then year 13 through whatever, I'd rather own somebody else because he's probably too old. But
okay.
It would never be Mariota to me.
And that's what we do here. We give you 20 years worth
20
of
year
advice
predictions.
in one. Okay, so years 13 through, it's someone else. Good. Mike, what's your take on these guys?
I'm with Jason. I want Winston on my team. I would like him on my team in real life. I think he's going to be a successful quarterback in the league. And I just the spread quarterbacks are I don't want to be that guy, but I'm on board with that thinking of the spread quarterbacks kind of freak me out where I don't know if I want to spend the number 2 pick in the draft on that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I probably have a little bit of a different take. I'm more on the Mariota camp. I think I'm thinking in terms of the fantasy value of this is a Kaepernick versus Big Ben type of situation to me, okay? Where Mariota might not be on the field the very best quarterback compared to Winston, but I think from a fantasy perspective, Dynasty League, I'd rather have Mariota. Year one, I'd probably rather have Mariota because if he's starting and Winston's starting in Tampa, it'll depend where Mariota lands, but for me, I like the leg aspect of Mariota. He's a good decision maker. Obviously, he was in a conducive system for pass completion, but he was 68% pass completion, good decisions, leadership, all of those things for longevity to me, especially even the baggage of bringing a Winston. You talk about Dynasty League, you got to draft a guy right now that you hope pans out and is lower risk. I mean,
I would say the only ways that I would like Mariota better is if he goes to the Eagles. If he goes to the Eagles, it changes my opinion entirely because I feel like they will run his college system and do it well in the NFL.
What about Tennessee with Wisenhunt?
No, definitely not Tennessee. Tennessee's offensive scheme is super difficult.
They said they would adjust to him.
Yeah, whenever you got to dumb down. I don't know. I don't think that they will have him. I don't think they'll draft him first and foremost. But more than that, the only other team that I would actually like would be the New Orleans Saints. Because I think Sean Payton would know how to use him and would transform that team.
He'd have multiple years, too.
For as much as I crap on Wisenhunt all the time, it's him going to the Titans, I don't think is the worst situation because I'm thinking back to the years of Wisenhunt in Arizona with Warner when they would go 4 wide consistently. And, I mean, you had a Hall of Fame quarterback running the system, but if that's what Mariota thrives in, a system where there's just he's taking it from shotgun.
I think he does go to Tennessee.
Really?
And just a quick trivia note, because I heard this on the way here. When was the last time that Mariota took a snap under center?
Probably yesterday.
High school.
No.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I believe it.
Can you really be a successful quarterback if you don't know how to do that?
He's never taken one in college.
I think the answer is yes. And I think we're afraid because we've seen guys flame out. But RG3 had a very good year one. Okay.
Yeah,
in a system that was conducive. Kaepernick's numbers have gone up almost every year. I think we're very fearful of the dependency on the leg and the spread offense, and we know defenses are, kind of adjusting. I just don't want to pull too far the other way.
I think Tim Tebow is a legitimate fantasy. I mean, when he's in there in fantasy because of his legs, he's good.
Did you just laugh? Come on, man.
But I
He's
think
an NFL quarterback.
Part of
right
Griffin's
now.
success was that NFL defenses weren't ready for the read option yet, and I think the read option is dead.
Unless you're on the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, I think you see from Russell Wilson that being able to move around, make that decision.
It's
I mean,
positive.
Yeah, so. All right, any other thoughts on those quarterbacks that you guys want to add?
No, sir.
I wanted to look at our top 3 wide receiver candidates. You guys are welcome to throw anybody else in here. I put down Amari Cooper, Kevin White, and Davonte Parker, but there are probably 3 more guys that you could put ahead of Parker. You could, if you want to be bold, you could put them pretty high on your list. Are those the 3 guys that you think will go first off the board?
Yes. Yeah, I would think so.
I think they'll go first 3.
The other guys to think about are
Perriman.
like Perryman and Dorsett and Abdullah.
Yeah.
So what is the best landing spot if you look at the first round for Cooper, White, and let's say Parker? Where do you think if Cooper's going in the top 10, where do you want him to end up?
The Giants. The
By
New
number
York
9,
Giants.
what you said earlier.
Yeah, if he could slip there, I would love that. I mean, just look. Eli would trust him right off the bat, right? I mean, he trusted ODB.
I don't know about that. There's a lot of mouths to feed in the situation. If he goes to the Giants, Victor Cruz is expected back week 1.
Yeah.
If he goes to the Giants, it's an indication that Victor Cruz is not in their plan, in my opinion.
I think that's valid. I don't know. Even if he's ready, I mean, being ready, saying you're ready to play, and actually getting in an NFL game are very different. But for my answer, I like one of those guys going to the Bears.
Yeah, that's who I've got for Kevin White. Kevin White.
I think a lot of people have Kevin White going to Chicago.
And I would
it's
like
a good
it.
opportunity. Come in as a number 2, but be on the field.
Simple offense. Just throw it to the big guy. Box out.
Yeah, just run quick slant, bubble screens, and 9 routes.
And I think
Kevin White will destroy.
Yeah, I think Cooper is going to end up in Jacksonville or Oakland, unfortunately. I don't mind him in Oakland, which sounds ridiculous based on their past. But like I've said before, I like Derek Carr. I believe that he can sling it if necessary. He's got a little bit of that gunslinger in him, but he needs somebody to throw at that's not like James Jones.
And I like Parker going to New Orleans just for obvious reasons. There's a lot of opportunity there. They need some mouths to feed, and you've got Drew Brees.
What if he lands in either Philly or Cincinnati?
Oh, yeah, Philly for the same exact reasons.
Anybody in Philadelphia is amazing.
Is there any? Would you think Parker's the fit for those 2 teams, or do you think do you like Dorsett? Do you like Perryman?
Perriman for Philly. I like Parker for.
That's who you had. That's one of your guys, right?
I was looking at my
Mike.
list. Perriman, yeah, dude, just the guy's lightning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sub 4.3, and he's
like, that's what I used to run those.
And here's
Sub 43, right?
So Perriman, yes, we're moving along. Perriman, 6'2" with a 3-foot vertical. That's what I want.
He's also the son of an NFL player who was a good NFL player, so he's got
Pedigree.
He's got the pedigree.
Which is it's always nice, but if you get him in that system with Perriman, Matthews, and we're not sure who Huff is there, or the Oregon Eagles are allegedly high on Huff, but those 3 receivers would be an offensive explosion.
Let's talk running backs.
Yes.
So we've got Gurley and Gordon, the number 1 and 2 on everybody's board. I know, Mike, are you still a Gurley guy?
Yes.
I've flopped. I have flopped.
You're a Gurley guy now.
I am a Gurley guy. I was, I've been watching and studying especially between Gurley and Gordon.
Gurley and Gorley.
Yeah. I just, I watched more and Gurley's, he's
Gurley's
the best
great.
that I've seen
Gurley's
in a long
great.
time.
I believe 12 of 19 NFL executives put him at the number 1 spot, with 7 taking Gordon in the whatever poll that they take of those guys. I do like Gurley. I don't think you can be a intellectually responsible human being and not like Gurley, other than potential injury concerns. I do like Gordon as well. Gordon has some issues. Pass protection coming in. Fumbles have been an issue. He's lightning in a bottle, though. His quickness, his kind of stop to go. He's going to make big plays. And I'm not calling him, Chris Johnson year one because he doesn't have that top speed. But he has the big play potential. And I think you're going to see those with him, which might get him playing time really early. He's an acceleration guy. I think I would take Gurley over Gordon at this point, though.
Yeah, me too.
Is there any other big running backs that you think could make a mark? You have one of Mike's guys is Amir Abdullah.
Yeah,
out of Nebraska.
Everything I've seen from Abdullah, from his tape to his combine, I really like Abdullah a lot. The one knock on him, well, there's two. He's a fumbler as well, but his size is unfortunately just like 10 pounds too light. And I believe
2 inches.
The height doesn't bother me as much, but he played at I think 198, and then he put on some weight for the combine, which I don't know if is that artificial weight because his body needs to be a little bit bigger to hold up. But I see him as a fantastic third down type of guy who can also get some carries in between the game, like a better Gio Bernard, and some couple spots of him going to the Colts to spell Frank Gore, I think would be an incredible and you'll be able to get Abdullah in the second round if you want him. He's not a first round type of guy. The Dolphins or the Jets. I think Abdullah in the Jets Chan Gailey system is very intriguing to me.
I agree with that. I think that's a good place for him. His size scares me a little, but if he gets on a good zone blocking scheme, you know who he reminds me of? I feel like when I watch him, I'm watching an exact replica of Justin Forsett. Like he's the same build, the same size, the same motor on his legs, the same kind of vision. I mean, it is literally like they just changed uniforms and ran. So
career backup. Cool. No, just kidding. We have our Justin Forsett bet, so I have to disparage him based on your your
smear campaign.
Yeah, the smear campaign. I learned so much from last episode that I have to, in case you get him.
Traditionalist.
All right, so let's talk about a few more of your guys here, Mike, before we move on. We got a big mailbag to fill, so I don't want to overtalk. I kind of wanted to hit the big points in the draft preview, and then once we know their destinations, we can go through and kind of project these guys out, because right now that's impossible. I'm looking forward to that show a little bit more, to be honest with you. But one guy that's on my list and your list that we both like a lot is Phillip Dorsett. Mm-hmm. What I like about him is he's got incredible speed and quickness, but he's got a frame on him that's a little bit bigger than his height would indicate. I think he's a 5'9" guy. But there is a lot of hype around him going to New Orleans, potentially, that they love him.
Makes sense.
Yeah, New Orleans is going to address the wide receiver position. So if you want a fantasy flyer on a wide receiver, Brandon Cooks already has an injury history and he's smaller. He's a slot guy. Colston's getting older.
Kenny Stills is gone.
Kenny Stills is gone. Graham's gone. Somebody's got to catch these hyper-accurate passes from Drew Brees.
It's so bizarre to me, too. Why would you... we have Kenny Stills, who's shown that he can do it, and now we got to replace him with a high draft pick. I don't understand the thought process.
There has to be something else there. There's got to be...
Well, and I don't know if you say that Stills... What was that?
No, nothing. I just think Sean Payton's wife and him might have been really close.
Whoa!
Breaking news.
It reminds me of like when you remember when the Suns traded away because
Jason Richardson, because there was rumors of like
Steve Nash.
When did we turn into TMZ?
Sorry,
like 2 seconds. I don't know why. It's my fault. I said, "What did you say?" And then I gave him the floor to be. I don't think, though. I mean, saying Stills has done it is an exaggeration to me. Maybe they see him capped out. I mean,
he's done it infinitely more than a rookie who has not played a single snap.
Yeah, but you have to pay him eventually, and maybe they just don't like the character.
You
were already on the hook for no money.
You have to pay a rookie
who knew the system. Yeah, it made no sense to let him go. There's got to be something else there.
All right, we're not gonna speculate to what else is there
We
anymore.
already did.
We talked about Dorial
Gross.
Green-Beckham a little bit. He's another guy on both of our lists. He's a hard worker. He has all the physical gifts and tools, and he's going to drop a little bit. So his potential to land in a good destination is there.
He has seven or eight or maybe more quality arrests as well.
Oh my goodness!
No, it's true. I mean, have you seen his arrest history for marijuana?
Yes, and
They're almost all marijuana, other than the alleged pushing a woman down a flight of stairs. But
that's the one that freaks me out. And I don't think he was ever indicted or convicted of anything.
That's true. It's
because he's not in prison.
Constantly
well,
arrested.
that saying that I don't think he was ever fully charged with anything. These are all just allegations.
What was the Steve Keim quote you told me? I want to hear that, because this comes to mind when you see guys in the draft with the physical tools. What did you just?
Yeah, someone asked Steve Keim, the GM of the Arizona Cardinals. They asked him how do they factor in off the field issues, and Steve Keim said if Hannibal Lecter ran a 4.3, we'd probably say he just has an eating disorder. So yeah, off the field issues are there with him. But you know what's funny is that when you see him in interviews and you talk, he seems like he's got his head on straight. He doesn't strike me, when you look back at college players and you look at their interviews, the ones that have a history of arrests, a history of drug abuse, a history of maybe not playing in the year prior in college because they couldn't. Normally when you see their interviews, they strike you as less intelligent. And when you talk to this guy, it's like, seems like his head's on straight.
Well, there's plenty of guys, and these are the high risk, high reward picks of the NFL draft. There's plenty of the Tyrann Mathieu options where the Cardinals took a chance on him. He straightened up, and guys can do that, and then you hit a home run because you're getting somebody. I mean, somebody's drafting Shane Ray way down the board, and if for some reason he figures his life out,
I know.
2 days before the draft.
Come on.
It's a whole nother discussion for another type of show. But I mean, the youth of some of these guys and the people they have around them, this adjustment period is huge. And do they put the right people around them? Because they can move on from those situations, or they can repeat them and make those draft picks completely invaluable. But from a dynasty fantasy football league perspective, these are guys that just simply carry more risk.
Yeah, but 6'5".
They're eating disorder. Yeah, there you go. Is there anybody else you guys want to talk about real quick? Mike, you have a couple other guys we didn't mention, but we're getting we're about the 33-minute mark.
Okay.
So we're okay to talk about a couple.
A guy who I got turned on to last week or so, I believe I saw a tweet from Evan Silva talking about a guy named Zach Zenner, who is a running back from South Dakota State. And whenever Evan Silva mentions a name, you have to look it up because the guy knows what he's talking about. And so I started looking around because I'll be honest, I'd never heard of him. And there is a lot of the smart part of the fantasy community that are talking about him. They're not saying he's the guaranteed next sensation, but everyone is saying he is a guy, just keep an eye on what happens with him, because he comes from a really small school, but he dominated. And that's when you find a small school guy, what you want to see is that they dominate. And he did it. And so I was looking around, and there's an article from Max Mullets. I apologize, Mulets. I don't know how to pronounce his name. But he's from rotoviz.com, which is a spectacular site of getting deep, dark information for fantasy.
Yeah, TMZ stuff. Cool.
No,
not that.
No, actual good,
really quality,
good stuff. But he did a write up on Mr. Zenner, and his comparables are Jay Ajayi and TJ Yeldon. I mean, those are guys who are going to go in the second and third round, and you're talking about a guy who's probably going to slip down in the draft because he was in a small school. He'll go sixth, seventh round, possibly. Maybe he goes a little higher. I don't know where he's going to go, but all his numbers, his production, his being a workhorse, his actual measurable stats. I mean, the guy, keep an eye where he's going, because he could turn into a legit fantasy player.
He's also got a laundry list, like a ridiculous list of awards for academics and good Samaritan stuff. I mean, he's
High character guy.
Yeah, really good character guy. He put over. Well, do you know how many years in a row he had? Was it
I'm looking
3
at
years
his
in a row
numbers.
he had 2,000 yards plus?
Yes.
I mean, that's what you want in a JUCO.
Decent.
You want a guy that dominates. I watched a bunch of video on him, and the one knock that I would say on him is he's just got one speed. Like everything he does is like he doesn't have really loose hips. So I'm a little. If he goes to the right fit, a zone, he is a great one-cut runner. So if he goes to like Houston, I think that's a great.
It's funny because when you
match.
talk about underrated in the draft, Arian Foster, one-cut talent.
Yeah, but he doesn't look. I mean, when I watch, he doesn't look like he's got that same kind of speed as he broke away from a lot of guys. But it looked like he was having to work really hard.
He ran a 4.6, so that's fine. That's perfectly fine breakaway speed.
If we want a JUCO guy, I like David Johnson. That's my guy.
The only other guy I wanted to mention from the wide receiver, does he end up in a good location perspective, is Nelson Aguilar out of USC. He had 100-plus receptions. Special teams wizard. Everything I saw on tape from him impressed me. In and out of breaks, quickness, those type of things. So if he ends up in a good destination and you're trying to split the difference in your dynasty draft between some of these other second-round guys, I like him. I like him a lot. So take that for what you will. So let's go ahead and, unless you got anything else to add, Jason, I don't know if you have a guy you want to talk about, but we got a lot of questions.
I say mailbag it, baby.
All right, let's do it.
Mailbag.
Whoa.
I was trying something new.
Yeah, that was...
I was trying to keep it fresh.
Get the bass in there.
That's funny because I'll take this question first then. Let me pull this email up. We got an email question right before.
Yeah, get your questions in, people, because we will answer them. I couldn't think of anything better.
mail at thefantasyfootballers.com. This one comes in from Daniel G. Dear Michael, Oz, and Robert.
Yes!
Which are the Striper band members.
And I'm Michael Sweet. You guys can fight over the other names.
It seemed like the appropriate email to read right now. He says he's in a family member 12-team keeper league. QBs get 6 points for passing TDs. You can keep up to 4 players at the cost of your first 4 picks in the draft. All right, that makes sense. He has 5 players worthy of being keepers: Peyton Manning, Jamal Charles, Odell Beckham Jr., Calvin Johnson.
Hold on.
Yeah, come on, man.
Peyton Charles.
You guys ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Peyton Manning, Jamal Charles, Odell Beckham Jr., Calvin Johnson, and A.J. Green. But he can only pick 4 of them, which draft pick trading is allowed in our league. He offered his brother the choice of one of those 3 wide receivers in exchange for his first pick in the draft. He says it might make more sense to trade one of those top 10 wide receivers for a 5th-round pick instead of tossing one of them back into the draft and getting nothing into the return. Is this a viable strategy, and if so, how should I go about utilizing this tactic to my advantage in future seasons?
I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to just hop on and say I would really love to start the year with Charles, ODB, Calvin Johnson, and A.J. Green. If he can start, I presume.
12 team? Did I hear that right?
Yes, correct. So I presume you could start at least 3 wide receivers, 2 in a flex, probably being the minimum. And if you can go in with those 3 wide receivers and have Jamal Charles locked up, don't do anything else. Don't get cute. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I was trying to think through it. Peyton Manning, if you're thinking about it in the 4th round, that's still excellent value from someone who doesn't like early QBs. But I'm with Jason. I mean, you start with those 4 positional players and just figure out the quarterback a little bit later. You have a huge advantage just right out of the gates.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I'm a little confused because you said he could trade one of these top 10 wide receivers for a 5th-round pick instead of tossing one of them back into the draft.
5th round, because you can keep 4,
right?
But it costs you your 1 through 4. So he's assuming that his brother or whoever he's trading with is going to keep 4 player. Wait.
So essentially, it would be, even though he's calling it a 5th, it would be like a 1st. It would be, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure that's
why
he
said his first pick in the draft.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Hopefully that helps. I think we all agree that
keep those 4.
Those
just
4
started with that.
This one comes in from Mike. He says he
not me.
No.
You need some help, Mike?
I listen to multiple fantasy football podcasts, but yours is by far my favorite. I love the original and entertaining commentary. He's in a half-point PPR league where he can keep 4 players, but only 2 of them can come from rounds 1 through 6. My 4 keepers count as picks 1 through 4 for me in the draft, so similar to our last email. So basically it comes down to this. He has to pick 2 players from this list, Eddie Lacy, Jimmy Graham, and Jordy Nelson. And 2 players from this list, Martellus Bennett, Isaiah Crowell, Denard Robinson, Jerick McKinnon, Devontae Freeman, and LeGarrette Blount. What are your thoughts? So let's decide for Mr. Mike. First, in the first set, Eddie Lacy, Jimmy Graham, Jordy Nelson. Which 2 do you keep?
Lacy Nelson.
Yeah, easy peasy.
Yeah, Lacy Nelson as well. And so a little harder. Let's go 2 players from his second list. Who do you keep?
Well, I would say 2 things. First, almost every player on this list changes after draft weekend. So in a week, you're going to see the difference between, say, Devontae Freeman and Jerick McKinnon, and specifically those 2 guys are going to be either much higher or much lower after the draft. But personally, I believe that the way he wrote this, it seems like he can do the same thing as the previous caller, where he can choose 2 of those, or he can trade them back in for draft picks. And in this system, I would much rather select none of those guys and go into the draft with 2 early picks and pick up, more of the top tier. Because obviously you see in those first 4 rounds, people have to give somebody back. They can only select 2. So there's going to be quality players in that draft. You're putting Jimmy Graham back here. The other people are going to be putting other people back. I would rather have those guys rather than anybody on this list personally.
I like that strategy. However, if AP gets traded, I'm going to hold on to McKinnon. I think he is set up for success in Minnesota if Peterson's out of the way.
I have the same feeling about Devontae Freeman if they don't draft a running back.
Right.
Where he's a guy that you keep. Maybe Crowell and Freeman would be the 2 guys, or Freeman and Blount. But it really does depend on what happens for those teams that are in kind of flux at the running back. You can throw out Bennett.
Yeah.
You can throw out Denard Robinson probably.
Definitely. Throw out LeGarrette Blount. You don't want that backfield mess.
Really?
Yeah.
I like Blount.
I like Blount. I like him, but I just don't ever want to.
First game.
Oh.
That makes a difference, because if someone comes in and tears it up,
not on Bill Belichick's team. That's the whole point of why I don't want Blount, is you just never know. Somebody could tear it up and they can be not playing the next week. That happened last year. But I would say this. I would say if AP leaves, Jerick McKinnon's worth getting. If Devontae Freeman has no other running back in Atlanta, then that's fine. I expect neither of those to happen. I expect AP to be there, and I expect Atlanta to get a running back. So
there you go.
Drop them.
So did either of you guys read this next question yet?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah, Mike sent this to me. This one comes in from Kevin. Love the podcast. I took over a crappy team 3 years ago from a female that had no clue and have rebuilt it fully. 10-team PPR.
Congratulations, Kevin.
Anything to say to Kevin first?
Kevin,
here?
why you got to disparage? Why you got to disparage
That's ridiculous.
the women folk? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's no reason to include that.
We appreciate you listening, but
Come on now.
The ladies are just as good at fantasy football.
I got a co-owner on our main league,
and she is very smart and very good at fantasy
She's
football.
a lady.
Yeah, that's kind of a ridiculous statement.
I will say this. I know far more dudes who suck at fantasy football than I do females who suck.
Yeah, because they just are assumed that they suck, and so they got to work harder.
I think I'm going to skip his question.
No, take the question.
No, read
Take the
it.
question. We still love Kevin.
It's a big question. He lists out all of his keepers. I'm not going to read them all. You guys can see them there.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
So what does he want?
Just read
Three
his
possible
trades.
trade offers. Alfred Morris and his 6th pick in the first round for the first pick. So to draft Gurley or Amari Cooper. So he's in a dynasty league. That's option 1. Alfred Morris in the 6th for the first, which I don't do.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
Alfred Morris in the 6th pick for the second pick in the second round. So 2-6. Oh, okay. So Alfred Morris and the 1-6 and 2-6 for 1-3 and 2-3. No. And Alfred Morris for Randall Cobb. No.
Yeah, I would say the only one here that's appealing.
Why does he want to trade Alfred Morris so much?
Well, I think personally on a dynasty level, I don't think he's got many years left. The only one that I would consider, I would probably say no to all 3 of these, but the only one I would consider is the first one.
Yeah, me too.
And only if you're drafting Gurley, because you're not going to you don't have, he includes his roster here, and he doesn't have depth at the running back position if he gets rid of Morris. So if you're getting rid of Morris, I mean, wouldn't you trade Alfred Morris for Todd Gurley in a dynasty league?
No, I wouldn't.
I
Alfred Morris has had more production than any running back in football
Morris
over the last 3 years,
fantastic.
other than, I think, Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
He's very underrated.
So either do none of them or do that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're rebuilding, yeah, I agree with you. If you're a rebuilding dynasty team, I do agree with that. All right, we answered your question.
Next.
All right, this one comes in from the Football Cube. Okay, this is a long one. He has a IDP league. Says he loves the show. It's a brush.
This is not an IDP league. This is we roster an entire defense league.
Yeah, it's a nice breath of fresh air. # drop a deuce. Keep up the good work. So basically, his situation is he keeps 10, no penalty, but he starts 3 defensive linemen, 4 linebackers, and 4 DBs. And so I went through and looked at his list here. Here's your guys that I would keep if I were you. Aaron Rodgers, Lev Bell, Carlos Hyde, Julio Jones, Alshon Jeffrey, and Travis Kelce on the offensive side of the ball. And then on the defense, 2 defensive linemen. He said they get boosted points, Everson Griffin and Cameron Wake. And then I'd keep Michael Kendricks. You can't go wrong with him at linebacker. And John, I forget how to pronounce that, Cyprien?
I think that's right.
Who I believe was the number 2 DB on a lot of lists that I saw. So those are the guys that I'd go with. We don't play in any IDP leagues. I know that the guys that do are really passionate about them and want content out there. But I did my best in answering that question based on what I could find. So any other thoughts?
That's a long question.
I know. I couldn't, it's not very helpful because I can't read this roster that's like 2 pages long. Yep. So this was a good question that came in from Heather. She said in a 10-team league, she wants to upgrade it to 12.
Good for you.
But yeah, first of all, well done. But change to a keeper league. So any ideas for a fair way to have 2 new teams come along?
Yeah, that's something we've done in our relative past in our league. And normally what you do is if you're going to add 2 teams is you just allow a draft for those 2 new teams to come in. So you
populate their keepers.
Yeah, essentially you make it a keeper league first, right? So you put in your keepers for whoever you've got, put everyone else back in the draft, and then there's a supplemental draft with the 2 new teams, and they essentially get first and second pick, maybe snake it. So you get first pick, the next team gets the second and third, the next team gets the fourth and fifth, and then the sixth. And they can't pick. Essentially, if it's going back and forth, I think you could do it in any position, but they've just got to go with the keeper rules. So if the keeper rules have something where you can't have 2 running backs or 2 wide receivers, then they have to do the same rules when they populate their team with the draft. They're coming in and being added in, so they might have a worse team, but that's fine. Get players who are willing to do that in a keeper league.
To me, if you're wanting to upgrade to 12 and be a keeper league, just do them both at the same time. The thing you cannot do, you can't have a redraft league and then after the draft say, it's now a keeper league. Everyone has to know going into the draft before the season that it's going to be
the way
a
you
keeper.
draft. Yeah, that's a good point. So one option would be just add these 2 in, do your redraft, say it's going to be a keeper league, and let people keep them for next year versus trying to keep what they have on the roster.
If you've already switched to keeper, then the supplemental draft is the way to go.
Yeah, so those are some options for you. We've had success with those in the past. We added a couple guys to the league probably 4 or 5 years ago, and we did the supplemental draft. It worked out really well. So, all right, this question comes in from Corey. Corey with a K. Hey, guys, great show. Thanks for providing so much great information early in the offseason when a lot of other shows aren't doing so. My question is, would it be beneficial in a standard redraft league to trade your first-round pick and a later round pick like a 5th or 6th and receive a second and a third? Would love to hear some of the guys you would target with 2 second and 2 third-round picks. For me, I love that. I would do that unless I knew that I couldn't get somebody that I liked in the same tier that I like them. But I would do that. I'd trade a 1st and a 5th or a 1st and a 6th for a 2nd and 3rd all day long.
I would only do it if I'm in the back half of the
first round.
Yep.
Agreed.
Okay.
And guys, I'm going to target, we've talked probably ad nauseum, but Jeremy Hill in the 2nd should be there. And you're going to have one of the top tier receivers will be there in the 2nd if it's Julio, Demarius,
Jordy Nelson.
Yeah, one of those guys will be there.
Bryant. Any other things to add, Jason?
That's exactly my thoughts.
All right, this last question comes in from Tyler. He says, "Hey guys, I love the show. I almost won the Sacco last year.
Uh-oh. No good.
But after listening to your show, this year will be a different story."
Yes, it will.
Yeah, for sure. He has a good start, though. He has the pleasure of keeping Antonio Brown this year, but I also get a rookie keeper. I thought it was a no-brainer to keep Brandon Cooks, but you guys talked up Jarvis Landry an episode ago. So who is the better keeper? He also has Devontae Freeman that he can keep.
Love Jarvis Landry. He's no Brandon Cooks.
I agree from a pure touchdown big play perspective.
I'm still we like Landry, but
I left out a very
left out the best
important part of this email. And J Mac will definitely break 1,000 yards this year. I agree with you.
Put Tyler in the water bet.
Guy.
I agree with
Oh, come on.
Man.
Look, I gotta say it. You put me on blast, Corey. I'm putting you on blast.
No,
Brutal.
that was Tyler.
Tyler, whoever you are.
Tyler with a T.
Corey, I apologize to you.
I think we all love Landry.
But we're talking
I don't
for
think,
a guy
in a
later.
PPR, I don't know if they finish any different, but Cooks has such an opportunity with
with all those wide receivers
guys,
and weapons we just talked about leaving.
Drew Brees.
Yeah, and Drew Brees. Brandon Cooks is a. I mean, you're talking about different rounds that you'd be taking these guys. It's not very close.
Drew Brees.
Yeah.
He breaks the tie for me.
Drew Brees does. Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, there's a situation where you would keep Landry over Cooks, but it seems like he's not doing any pick disparity. Here where he's got to lose a certain draft pick for one guy and a certain draft pick for another. It seems like you just get to keep a rookie, and you don't have any difference lost. And if that's the case, then keep Brandon Cooks.
And we just want to remind everyone as we come to the close of the show that you can go to FanDuel.com and use the promo code BALLERS, and you get a bonus deposit up to $200. They'll match you dollar for dollar. And people have asked, they say, we like what's going on with the off-season content. If you want to support the show and all the things that we put into it, and you want to play daily fantasy and have a chance to win some money, this really helps us out. If you go to FanDuel, use the promo code BALLERS.
Make some money.
Another really practical way to help us out too, Mike, is to just hop onto iTunes and leave a review. A lot of people don't know exactly how to do that because if you've already subscribed to us, you can't leave a review in the place where you've downloaded it. You actually have to just go to the store, search for Fantasy Football, click on us, and you can leave a little review. You don't have to even write it in if you don't want to, but if you want to write something in, you can. We appreciate the feedback. We like hearing from everybody. You can email us, mail@thefantasyfootballers.com, with any feedback, any questions you have, anything you'd like to see on the show. We had somebody write in the other day and say, hey, I'd like to see all your water bets on the website. So I'm working on that right now. We're going to get those up there so you can see what bets have been made between the three of us. For instance, Jeremy Macklin going over 1,000 yards,
Which will not happen.
My surefire win. We also have some shows coming up that we're really excited about. We're going to be doing a mock draft show very soon, probably a couple of those. If you're interested in participating with us in that mock draft, we've had some people reach out, so you can tweet us at the FF Ballers or you can email us. We're also going to interview Adam Azer from CBS, host and analyst, on their football podcast. We're going to be talking some post-draft kind of projections. Also some guys we really like in this upcoming year.
Also, we have 2 spots open for our official Fantasy Footballers redraft league.
We do. We have a couple of listener spots. I'm not exactly sure what the qualifications will be for getting those spots
Mostly
yet.
just impress us.
Yeah, impress us in some way. If you were to send us, I don't know, piles of money or something.
I need a notarized contract stating that you will not draft Jeremy Hill and you will leave him alone.
If you have the ability to add a man bun in some fashion to your person and take a picture of it.
Or get a sponsorship with Peter Piper Pizza.
For the, what was that again? The Peter Piper...
The Peter Piper Pizza PPR pick of the week.
Man, we need to get that going.
Segment of the year.
Yes. So visit us on the site, thefantasyfootballers.com. We also got our YouTube channel. You can go subscribe on there. We'll put this episode up because we know how to do that now.
We know what we're doing.
And we also are on Facebook, facebook.com/thefantasyfootballers. You guys have anything to add? Or are we done here?
I would just say I love our listeners. I love you all.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's a good bunch. Good
I
bunch of
had
peeps.
the quarterback article that
we pumped up for quite a while. It is up on fantasypros.com. So if you go to fantasypros.com,
Good stuff, man.
and I just click NFL, it should be right there, and you will find out the actual weekly value of your top tier quarterbacks. See what they do. Part 2, because I believe it ties in together, I'm talking about running backs and their values / bust potential and things like that. That should be going live this week at some point.
That's really, really good information. If you've been listening to us answer questions on the show and wondered why are they not so high on quarterbacks sometimes,
go read that article.
You understand a little bit why we favor the running back position. Some people might call that old school. I think we call that just
it's kind of new school.
Smart. Yeah,
it's coming back to be new school.
All right, that's it. Say goodbye, everybody.
Good.
Striper, come on.
Yeah.